Alright guys, welcome back to another video, and today we're here to do a video on the Nreal AR Glasses. This is the Generation 1 I still have. We'll get into why I still have Gen 1 instead of the Air Pro 2s. Specifically in this video, we're going to be talking about the Xreal Beam that they released, and then the Xreal Beam Pro that I literally just got a week ago. I've been putting it through its paces. We're going to talk about everything that this can do and why I would get such a thing and how it makes it different than, just using the Beam or just the glasses the way that they are. So let's go ahead and get into the video.
Gaming tech, eating brekkie is the gaming tech. Going for a brekkie is the gaming tech. Gaming techie is the gaming tech. Gaming techie.
Alright guys, so for those of you guys who are new to the channel and you don't know what these Xreal glasses are, let's just go ahead and take a quick overview of what these are. These are AR glasses. Basically what happens is that you can plug this into your iPhone, your Android phone, whatever the case may be, and if I put these on right now, and it was plugged into something via a cable, it doesn't use any battery or anything, it uses the power of your computer, or you plug it into a Mac, a phone, or whatever, you basically get a giant virtual display right here in front of you that feels like it's like a 100-inch screen. These are using OLED panels, little micro OLED panels on them, so the color reproduction is really good. These are 1080p, and these have been around for a really long time. Like I said, these are Generation 1, and the reason that I still have Generation 1, I've never tried Generation 2, the Air Pro Glasses 2, but a lot of people who have had them say that it's a lot harder to get a clear image around the edges for people who have a really good time with the first ones. And I have had no issues with my first ones, which is why I never really gravitated towards the new ones, especially because I don't know if there's actually a big jump to kind of make it worth that jump to begin with. But I've been really happy with the Generation 1s, which you can now get relatively really cheap compared to what they used to be when they first came out at $400. Now you can get them at $200 or less. I do also have the lenses in here, so I don't have to wear glasses, because you definitely can't wear glasses with these. They do make prescription lenses, which I do have with these, and I've been enjoying these ever since I got them. It has built-in speakers on the side. Of course, they're not very loud or anything, but you could, of course, use Bluetooth headphones instead and all that. They fit comfortably in my head. I haven't had any issues wearing them for a really long time. Now, the way that I use these when I first got them is, for example, my phone. If I go over here and I pull up the USB-C cable here, this is the one that came with the Nreal AR Glasses. So the angled end goes into the side here. Again, these are not powered, so you don't have to power anything on. Basically, all I did most of the time is just plug in, like I have my Galaxy phone right here. You could plug it into your Android phone, and then you could basically mirror anything that's on your phone, and you could watch it right here on your glasses like I'm doing right now. So if I go ahead and put these on, right now my phone is telling me it's locked, so I should probably unlock it. And now I'm looking at a phone, and it has a phone screen right in front of me, and I could just see my phone the way that I normally would. And I'm scrolling through looking at my phone in like a big version of it in portrait mode. Of course, if I open up an application like YouTube, for example, and I go ahead and turn it sideways, now I am looking at this stuff in landscape mode, and you can use this. It mirrors your phone. It's awesome. It is just following you though. Like everywhere you look, the screen is following you. It's not staying in space or anything like that. It's kind of just staying there exactly as is. And then you have the Nreal app, which I have here in front of me. Unfortunately, I can't record this portion of it with my phone, with what I see in the glasses, but I can kind of describe what I see. Kind of shows you your pictures on the phone. You got the weather sitting right there in the corner. You have a couple of different apps that they've made for this thing. You got the time, you got the YouTube player right there, you got the digital pet. And as I move my head, it is staying central in space. This is only available, the Nreal app on Android. This won't work the same way on iPhones. That was kind of the big thing, is that like iPhone had no way to kind of make this display kind of stay in space. But also the Nreal app didn't have a good way of integrating other apps as well. So you basically just stuck with YouTube and a couple of apps that they made. So you couldn't access Netflix or any of the other things in this mode. You could just use mirror, like I talked about before, where you're just mirroring the display, and most of the apps did work. There were a couple that didn't work due to DRM, but most of them did work. Like Disney Plus works that way, where I can throw it in landscape mode. But then, since you don't have the Nreal app open, you lose, being able to keep the app in space. So it only follows you everywhere you look in follow mode, and that's the only thing you're doing, because it's just mirroring the display. So you never got like the best of everything in one mode by just directly connecting to it. Now, it's really awesome to also take a Steam Deck, for example, which is what a lot of people buy these glasses for. You plug in your Steam Deck directly, no other thing is needed, and it's using the power of your Steam Deck. And then you have these, and you again have a gigantic 100-inch screen, and you're using your Steam Deck in front of you on a nice 1080p OLED screen, which is obviously an awesome experience on the go to basically have a giant TV with you anywhere you go, and it just requires this singular cable. Now, shortly after that, they came out with the Beam, the regular Beam that you guys are looking at right here. Now, what this was meant to do is that you would basically have a device, but you would have to charge this. It would last about 2 hours or so, and you would have to recharge this every time. Basically, you would plug in the glasses to this, and then you would take the other end and plug it into your iPhone, and plug it into the Samsung phone, and plug it into, you know, the Steam Deck or whatever the case may be. And what that would give you are those modes I was talking about. Instead of it just being, you know, directly in front of you and following you everywhere you looked, now you have spatially aware AR glasses where you can actually pin something right in front of you. You know, if you're using your iPhone and stuff, you can pin Netflix right here, and if you move your head to the left or right, it will stay right there in space. Same thing with the Steam Deck. I could pin it to the right and still continue to move ahead. That was really useful if you were on a plane and stuff like that. Maybe you had the attendant coming at you, and if you're looking straight ahead watching it and you turn to the left, you can still see her because you're looking through regular glasses, and now the movie's staying on the right of you where you were actually watching it as opposed to always following you. So it was kind of, you know, anchored to where your body was every time you move, which is really cool. And it had two other modes on this as well, body anchor, follow mode, and stuff like that people really liked. But it didn't really support Android very well. You could sideload a few apps to it, but it was very finicky. It didn't work very well. You could sideload some 3D movies as well, but again, it didn't work very well. The video player never worked really well for me. The 3D movies experience was really laggy and stuff like that. Never was as good as I wanted it, because my main purpose of buying this for me was not only to get those modes on the Steam Deck on the iPhone, when I had an iPhone back then, but it was also because I wanted to carry around 3D movies. You guys know I love 3D movies, and the glasses support 3D movies. But it was very finicky when you put them on here. You had to like hold the glasses down and power it on and power it off in 3D mode. And I always felt like the glasses, that it didn't take advantage of the you know, the modes really well. 3D was finicky at best with the Beam. But it did serve its purpose for me. I used it for a while. That's why I never got rid of it. When I was using my iPhone to make that spatially aware every time I looked around and stuff, that it would anchor itself to the wall or to that space. Same thing with the Steam Deck. So I kept it around. But then recently, what they announced is the the Pro version of that Beam. And that is what I have here in front of me. And if you look at it, you think you're just looking at an Android phone, which you wouldn't be wrong. You can see it's powering it up right now. It is powered by Android, and it's a 6.5-inch screen. The $200 model, this costs $200. It has 6 gigs of RAM. The 8 gigabyte model, it costs $250. And but the processor is the same on both. It's not like a super high-end Android phone, obviously, at $200 or $250. It has a Snapdragon, but it's not going to run every game at max or anything like that. Mainly, what I think this is great for is two things: watching content in all those modes I just talked about, and also taking spatial videos and photos. Now, let's go ahead and start off with watching content and stuff like that. Before, like I talked about, you would have to use the Beam to get those modes, right? And you would have to use the battery power of your phone and rely on your phone. Now this thing has its own battery, because obviously it's a phone and it has its own battery, and you could just plug it into your glasses just like this. And because this phone is made specifically for, you know, Beam, and it's made specifically for Xreal, you can see it's popping up and it automatically launches the experience, so you don't have to do anything else, and it's made specifically for this. It's a tailored custom Android OS that's kind of layered on top of Android called Nebula. And now, since they have total control of the OS, unlike before where they were running an app within Android, which gave them a lot of limitations and stuff when they wanted to do certain applications and DRM and you know, AR apps and stuff. Now, since they're running their own entire operating system, they can kind of do this on their own. So now what you guys are looking at is, first of all, you can see a new feature. I can actually record, which is really cool. And you guys are looking at here, this is the main interface when you swipe up. And if I swipe back down, you see that this looks very Vision OS-like. So you can actually scroll through these icons and you have all your different apps, and you can download every app from the Android store that you would expect to work on here, and everything works. You got Netflix, Xbox, Game Pass, all these stuff now in gigantic, you know, screens and stuff like that that you can use, and it has a very familiar interface for those of you guys who use the Vision. And you can see here now I'm using YouTube, and now I can have YouTube kind of sitting right here, and it's awesome because you could adjust the window size, which you couldn't do before. It's either medium or large. Again, it's using the follow mode right now, so it's just following me and putting it where I want, but I could press this little orange button on the side of this, and boom, now it's anchored to the actual area, so you can see I'm moving around and it's staying exactly in the position. So I love the fact that you can actually watch YouTube and do all of these different things with the apps around you. And what's really cool is that you can actually multitask, so you can actually open up another application that you have on here. Let's say, for example, I were to open up the Google Play Store just for the sake of it. You can see that now I have two applications. You could have two applications opened at once right next to each other and do, a little bit of multitasking. So one of the things that I really liked and wanted to get this for is for 3D movies. And now they have a video player right here. And this has a SD card slot on the side, so I can carry all of my 3D movies, and it works amazingly well. Unlike before, now you can open up things and you can have it on the internal storage or SD card for backups of your movies, and you can just go ahead and access them and play them right here. And you can see you can watch 2D content or 3D. I'm not going to play it right now so I don't get copyright strikes, but the 3D movies on here now look fantastic and exactly how I want them to. Then we got spatial videos as well. So I took this right here, and this looks 3D right in front of me, and it looks much better than what I've taken on the iPhone, because obviously the iPhone does spatial videos as well. But because of the way that these cameras are separated on the actual device and stuff like that, they're kind of more the way that eyes look at 3D. This produces a much more better 3D video. 1080p, 30 FPS is what this is recording at. When you do spatial videos, it looks really good and much better than anything I've taken on the iPhone when it comes to spatial videos. And yes, you can take the videos that you've recorded on this device and technically move them over to the Vision Pro. You do need to do some converting, but it definitely is possible. It also has this cool little mode where all the pictures that you take spatially on here will actually appear in front of you in like a circle and stuff like that, which is pretty cool. Just like you're in like a space with all your pictures. The more you take, of course, the more this would fill up. These are the only pictures I've taken, but it does take really good pictures as well in spatial 3D. One of the cool things about this thing, and one of the things that kind of impressed me the most with this. So yeah, guys, the Beam Pro that we have here is kind of exactly what I wanted, the original Beam to be. This thing is awesome. It does exactly what, for my use cases, it's exactly what I want. Now, the only issues I have with this is definitely it is a little buggy. Sometimes it crashes, or you have to like exit something or unplug the cable and replug it in because it acts a little weird. One of the things you also couldn't do back with the original Beam is that you couldn't charge it and use it at the same time, which again meant that you would be tied to only 2 or 3 hours of use. But on this one, you can plug in the device on your glasses here, and then you could use the charging side right here and plug this into a battery power bank or something like that, so you can continue charging it with something else and still continue to have this plugged into your glasses and use it. Again, this thing is going to be awesome. I'm actually taking a trip here soon, and the fact that I can take this on my flight, I downloaded a bunch of content from Netflix and a bunch of YouTube videos for offline usage and stuff like that, and I have a bunch of content ready to go to watch on my flight. And the fact that I can bring these small pair of glasses and watch 3D content that I love doing very easily on the go. Even though the Vision Pro obviously is my go-to for watching 3D movies, it's obviously a lot more bulky to take on a flight and stuff like that. Pairing this and still getting a great 3D experience, with this now is amazing. And I'm going to be taking some more spatial videos and photos like I talked about with the back of this camera, because it takes really good 3D spatial photos and videos, especially compared to the iPhone that I had before. It produces a much more, impressive image because of the fact that these are separated the way that they should be, with the way that the human eyes are kind of separated. So it gets much closer to that, which means that the spatial effect is much better. So yeah, this is what the original Beam kind of always should have been. I'm probably never going to really use the Beam anymore at all. It's always going to be this. The only use case that the Beam still has is, of course, you can't plug in third-party devices to this Beam. So that's why I still have this. So if I wanted to plug in the Steam Deck into here to still get that, like, AR anchoring that I was talking about, then you do need to use the Beam Pro. There's no way for you to plug in a Steam Deck to this, or plug in the Asus Ally or any of those other devices, into here. Or if you have an iPhone or anything like that, you can't plug it in to get those modes. So for that, you still need the original Beam to be able to plug in an Xbox console, PlayStation 5, Steam Deck, all that stuff, and get that spatial anchoring system that we talked about before. That makes it a lot more fun and easy to use with the way that you can anchor that stuff. But if it wasn't for that, for media watching and stuff like that, this is always what I'm going to use. The multitasking is cool on here. Again, the device is not perfect. I need to keep updating it because there are some bugs and some crashes sometimes, but I'm willing to deal with it just because of the fact that I like this stuff. And, watching 3D content is a huge deal for me. You guys know I love 3D on this channel. The fact that I could do that on the go now I have an SD card of 1 TB on here with all my 3D movies that I, own and can now rip onto here and carry them anywhere I go. Is awesome. And, watching Netflix and all those other things on the go on a device that I can not only plug into these glasses and not worry about my phone battery draining, but I can also charge it up as I go. So again, this device is really cool. If you guys are fans of Nreal and you didn't like the original Beam, this may be for you. Just know it is strictly the best for media watching and capturing spatial content, because if you're going to use it for your Steam Deck or Xbox or Mac or whatever, then you're still going to need the original Beam. That's why I still have both of them around. So hopefully you guys learned something out of this video, and you guys let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you guys already have one of these, if you're using the Air 1s like I am, or the Air 2s. And yeah, can't wait to see what they come out with next on the Nreal Air 3s whenever they come out, and what we kind of do and push it forward. Of course, what we would all like to see is the 4K, to go from 1080p OLED to 4K OLEDs, so we can get a much more closer visual quality on glasses this small, like we can with the Vision Pro. That'd obviously be a game changer. But these are still awesome in 1080p OLED. They look really, really good when I'm watching content. So that's it, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and thank you guys for watching. Till next time.